Man, my wrist hurts. I don't think it's from the push-ups. Now, you probably think if this guy's doing hundreds of push-ups a day, obviously things are going to start breaking down, things are going to start hurting. But from my experience training every day for over 3 years now, that's not the case. That's just not the case. It actually makes everything stronger. But when you're really pushing something, yes, it will eventually break down. And the way I've been managing to train every day for the past 3 years is by essentially taking it easy. I never really go to failure. When I do go to failure, it's with very specific movements, and I might do that like once or twice a week. And the rest of the week, I'm giving myself a chance to recover while just going through the motions. That has worked pretty much flawlessly. Now, I did break my foot after doing squat every day, but it was in a sparring match. I did tear my MCL, but it was grappling. And all the injuries that I've received during this period, like fracturing my jaw, all this was related to basically combat sports. It was mixed martial arts. And so I don't attribute any of my injuries to the actual training. In my opinion, there probably is some relationship. Like when I tore my MCL, it was at the same time that I was doing calf raises every single day. And I think that probably led to quite a bit of tightness in some of my ligaments, and it eventually led to a tear in a grappling match. But, everything else, pretty much unrelated to my actual training. It's all just because I got hit, or I got freaking beat up, right? It wasn't related to actually just training every day. This, however, this wrist pain that I'm feeling now, I can't help but think it is related. And my first thought was obviously the push-ups. That's what I think anyone would say. I mean, in this video, I have 2 days in which I did 390 push-ups on each day, right? My goal for this year is to do 350 push-ups every single day. So that's gonna be a lot of use. That's maybe even gonna lead to some breakdown of my cartilage, or I don't know. If I'm not really taking care of myself, then yeah, it probably will lead to some breakdown of my body. But at the same time, for the past 6 weeks, I've been doing push-ups every single day, over 250 every single day. Some days 500, some days 400, some days more. And the only thing that I've really noticed is soreness. If I do more, I'll feel a little sore the next day. My first couple sets, I just feel a little sore because I never really give my body the chance to fully recover. But that soreness is pretty much localized to my chest, my pecs, and maybe a little bit in my shoulders. But the wrist has not really seen that much involvement. Now, my second thought was doing handstands, because I've been doing handstands every single day for 3 months now. This, you would think, would eventually lead to some serious strain on my wrists. But again, no, it's been totally fine up until now. It's actually been really good. Basically 0 issues, unless I'm like really tired, and then I'll feel like pretty awful doing a handstand. But actually, doing push-ups and doing the handstand, I don't feel my wrist basically at all. I don't notice it at all. And that's when it kind of hit me. The least likely thing, in my opinion, that could have caused this was spinning a ball on my finger. I literally think that spinning a ball on my finger caused this wrist pain. And that's because you got to spin it, right? When you spin a ball to get it on your finger, if you've ever seen anyone spin a basketball, you need quite a bit of torque, right? You got to flick your wrist quite a bit. And I've only been using my right hand so far. I've used my left hand very, very little. Maybe like on 2 or 3 days, I use my left hand. Out of these like whole 3 months that I've been doing this, actually it's been like 2.5 months that I've been doing the ball spinning, but regardless, I've only used my right hand. The wrist pain is only in my right wrist. My left wrist actually feels great. There's actually like basically zero strain. But my right wrist, if you can imagine like shaking someone's hand, and instead of shaking it, you just like tilt your fingers down. And then that part of the wrist that gets stretched out, the top part where your thumb is at, that is super tight. And that is really where the pain is. It's quite sharp. It's really annoying, but so far it hasn't really been too much of a problem. I think it's got to do with spinning a ball on my finger. Not spinning it per se, but the flick of the wrist. It's the flick of the wrist. I think that's what it is. And yeah, that's basically what I've come down to. It's been like 3 days now that I felt this wrist pain, and I've just kind of been hoping that it would go away, but so far no luck. I'm gonna take like a week and just practice with my left hand with the ball spinning. I'm gonna do everything else basically the same and just hope that, you know, my wrist doesn't explode in the meantime. And that's kind of the plan. That's what I'm up to. It sucks. It sucks. Pain sucks. But one thing that daily training has really taught me is that you don't have to settle for being in pain. You can actually work through pain. And when you do that, you feel a little bit better. And I'll give you a couple examples of that. So if you could hear a little bit of congestion in my tone, in my voice, that's because there is congestion. And I even paused earlier to blow my nose. But regardless, I'm a little bit under the weather. I got this cold like right around Christmas, and it's been like 10 days or so. It's still holding me, right? It's cleared up quite a bit, but it's still holding me. I did kind of mess up yesterday and expose myself to the cold, and probably am not doing myself any favors with that. But what I will say is that breath work actually does a ton for congestion. And this is super interesting to me because when you're congested, you can't really breathe that well. So if you take the time to breathe, like if you take 5 minutes or let's say 10 minutes of just breathing and doing breath holds, like I do the Wim Hof method personally, that will literally clear up your congestion. If you do it for 15 minutes, your congestion's probably gone. If you do it for half an hour, it's definitely gone. If you do it for an hour, you'll be feeling high as a freaking kite because your body is full of oxygen. Like every cell of your body is flooded with oxygen. You'll feel amazing if you do breath work for a whole hour. I've only done it a couple times, but it feels great. Working through that congestion is actually possible. You don't have to wait for it to pass. You don't have to wait for your soreness to pass. You can train through it. You could do something very light. You could stretch yourself out, right? I like the squat because it's basically the entire range of motion of your legs. If you squat down, if you're able to squat down, that should be an incredible stretch for just about anybody. Now, if you're like me and you got a lot of experience squatting down, maybe it's not as much of a stretch, but still, it's good. It's really good. And when I did squat every day, I noticed that, hey, if I'm sore from lifting heavy the day before or 2 days ago, I just feel better after doing like a few sets of body weight squats. I just feel better because you get blood flow in there and the blood will heal everything. The blood supplies nourishment and energy to all of the cells in there, all the muscles, any sort of strain or, trauma you got in there, the blood flow into it is going to help heal it. And with the breath work, breathing just brings more blood flow. Doing breath work will raise your heart rate a bit and it'll bring more blood flow all across the body to heal you. I think that's awesome. You don't actually just have to sit through the pain, you can work through it. And with this wrist injury, I've been really just trying to put pressure on it, like applying pressure to different points in my forearm and my wrist. And it has helped to alleviate some of the pain and especially some tightness, but it hasn't gone away. And I think that's because I continue to flick my freaking wrist every day, 100 times, if not more, trying to practice spinning this ball on my finger. And yeah, that's probably not doing me any favors. So I'm gonna make a change. It really just came to me like an hour ago that this is probably related to spinning the ball and not the handstand, not the push-ups, because I've been doing those for a long time. And yeah, like I said, basically nothing. I've had some soreness in my chest and my shoulders. I've had some soreness in my forearms from the handstands, but nothing like this tightness in my wrist. I really think it is related to the spinning of this volleyball. And that's where I'm at. Yeah, I'm kind of just doing my own thing here. Hope everyone's doing well. I have been very consistent lately. 390 push-ups a day. That's pretty solid. That's not bad at all if you ask me. And I think I could keep this going for a while. Right now, I've just been thinking about building up a surplus. I want to get a nice surplus of reps. So far this year, my goal has been, like I said, to do 350 push-ups a day. But on the second, I did 75 extra reps. On the third, I did 25 extra reps. On the fourth and the fifth, which are these 2 days here, I did an additional 40 reps. So I'm actually 180 reps above my goal. And that's pretty sweet because that just means I'm getting there faster and faster. And I want to keep this going. I want to keep this up because I think that I can. I just have to figure out what exactly is troubling me and what is going to fix it. And a lot of these things don't get fixed immediately, but I think if I just take a couple days off with my wrist, let it chillax, work on my left hand, and that'll probably do the trick. Thank you for watching. I did, like I said, 390 push-ups over the course of 2 days. That was 26 sets of 15, and that equals 780 push-ups. Adding that to my 55,984 brings me to 56,764 push-ups completed so far. Click that link below to work one-on-one with me and get in the best shape of your life. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.